Hi everyone! Today we're crocheting a bear, and I'm using a 2.0mm hook for it with 4-ply yarn. The finished size is about 10 centimeters, or 4 inches. Now let's follow along with the tutorial and get started. The very first thing we're going to crochet here is the bear's head there, and for the head I'm using this brown colored yarn. The head is going to start off with a magic ring, so let's take a look at the way the magic ring is made. So first up, right hand holds onto the yarn tail, then wrap the yarn around your left pinky finger, catch it up on your index finger, and wind it once around the middle finger. And while you're wrapping it, make sure you leave yourself a good length of tail. Then press your thumb down on the spot where the yarn crosses over. Now grab your crochet hook. First we're going to make a turning chain. So here's how the turning chain is worked. Slide your hook into the loop, and then go ahead and pull the yarn through. Now there's one loop on the hook, and we pull it snug with the index finger. And next up we're going to yarn over with the hook, and when you do that, make sure the hook stays up above the yarn. Then turn the hook a little. And then we take the yarn and draw it on through the first loop on the hook. Bring it over, and now we tidy everything up. Now pull that little knot nice and tight, but don't cinch the loop up on your hook too tightly. And that's one stitch made. So now we're going to get started on round 1. 6 single crochets in a ring. Let's take a look at how a single crochet is worked. So first the hook goes right into the loop of the ring there, and then we go ahead and bring the yarn over the top of it. Then pull it up a little higher. Now there are 2 loops on the hook, so we're going to yarn over again and pull it on through both of those loops. And right here you'll see a little V shape appear. And that V is what we call a stitch. So let's take a look at it. This stitch right here is made up of 2 strands in the shape of a V. If you're new at this, grab yourself a stitch marker and mark the position of that very first stitch. And now let's go right ahead and work into our second single crochet here. Hook goes in, and as you work it, keep your thumb pressed on the yarn tail. Then bring the yarn on through and pull it up just a little higher, and if the yarn didn't catch, just hook it back on there and try again. Now there are 2 loops on the hook, so we're going to yarn over and pull it on through both of them. And that gives us stitch number 2. Then stitch 3. 1, 2, 3. And now stitch 4. And then stitch 5. And then stitch 6. And that's all 6 of our single crochets done there. This is where the first stitch sits. Then 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6. On that very last stitch, we're going to put another stitch marker to mark it. Next, we need to pull that yarn tail nice and tight and close up the ring. Then take the yarn and just lay it down behind your work. So now we're going to work a slip stitch. Take that stitch marker off the first stitch, right in here. So now we're going to put our thumb right down underneath that stitch here. The hook goes right through that first stitch, so that's through both strands of that V shape. And then bring the yarn over, through the stitch first, and then on through the loop that's on your hook. Now we'll tidy that up a little bit and pull it tight. And now we're going to work another turning chain. A turning chain is just yarn over and pull through the loop. Keep that turning chain nice and loose. The slip stitch we pull tight, the turning chain stays loose. Now we're going to get started on round 2 of the head. The pattern for round 2 is 6 increases. We're going to be working 2 single crochets into every single stitch, and the spot where we go in for that very first stitch is right where the slip stitch went in before. And if you're new and you can't find it, you can always count backwards from the last stitch. In round 1 we worked 6 stitches, so there are 6 V-shaped stitches there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then right in here. So we're going in here and work 1 single crochet first. Round 2 stitch 1. Put a marker on it to mark the spot. Then we go right back into that very same stitch and 1 more single crochet. So what we've done here is work 2 single crochets into the same stitch, and that right there is 1 full increase. Now one thing we need to keep in mind, the slip stitch and the turning chain will form 2 little stitches of their own, right here and here, so those 2 don't count as stitches, and you don't need to crochet into them. And now we come along to that second stitch position, and here we're going to work 2 single crochets as well. 1 single crochet, then we go back in right here and work another single crochet. So that right there is the second increase. And then on to group number 3. A single crochet, add 1 more, and then on to our group 4. A single crochet, and add 1 more, then group 5. A single crochet, and 1 increase, and the last stitch. And then group 6, a single crochet, and then we add 1 more. And just like that, round 2 is done. Once round 2 is done, we have a total of 12 stitches. So we count from that marked last stitch all the way around to the first stitch position, and that gives us a total of 12 stitches. And next we're going to work a slip stitch. So go into the stitch at the base, bring the yarn on through the stitch, and then on through the loop that's on the hook. And then we pull it nice and tight. And next up we work another turning chain, so we yarn over and pull it on through the loop. The slip stitch pulls tight, and this loop stays a little looser, because it becomes the first stitch of the next round. Alright, now we're going to get started on round 3. Round 3 repeats 6 groups of single crochet, increase. The position is where the slip stitch went, here. So we're going in here, and we work 1 single crochet first here. And then in the next stitch we're going to be working an increase, so that's a single crochet, and then 1 more. And that set right there is what we're going to repeat 6 times. So that's 1 single crochet. And then in the next stitch we work an increase, a single crochet, and then add 1 more. Then on to the next group. So first up, 1 single crochet, then the next stitch, and we work a single crochet and an increase. So 1 single crochet, and then add 1 more, then 1 single crochet, a single crochet, then an increase, and on to the last group. So that's 1 single crochet, and on that last stitch we work a single crochet and an increase, a single crochet, and then add 1 more. And just like that, round 3 is finished. And so once this round is all finished, we've got a total of 18 stitches going all the way around the head there. We're increasing, and the pattern adds 6 stitches on every round. Put a stitch marker on that last stitch just to mark the spot. And then we work a slip stitch and a turning chain. At the end of every single round we work a slip stitch and a turning chain. So pull that slip stitch nice and tight, and that way you won't see much of a seam on this side here. Then work another turning chain and keep that one a little loose. Alright, now we're going to keep right on going with round 4. Round 4 goes single crochet, increase, single crochet 6 times. You can think of it as adding in 1 increase every 2 stitches here. So we just split the first group up. The first group gets split into a starting stitch, and an ending stitch. So that's 1 single crochet. And then in the next stitch we're going to work an increase, and after that one you can just go ahead and count it as 2 single crochets there. And then 1 increase. So we've got 2 single crochets sitting in between, and then we go into the next stitch and increase. A single crochet, and then add 1 more. And the reason we do it this way is so that we stagger out where the increases land. On to the next group. So that's 1, and then 2. So that gives us 2 single crochets right there. Then in the next stitch we increase. A single crochet, and add 1 more. So that's 1 and 2. That's 2 single crochets. And into the next stitch we increase. So that's 1 and then 2. A single crochet and an increase. So that's 1 and then 2. A single crochet and then add 1 more there. And on that last stitch we work a single crochet on its own. And so with that, our round 4 is all finished up now. Once round 4 is all done, we've got a total of 24 stitches all the way around. And then we join into the first stitch with a slip stitch. And then we go ahead and work another turning chain. When we count the rounds, here's how we do it. The round circle in the middle is round 1, then round 2, round 3, round 4. And looking at it from the side, every ridge you see is 1 round. Alright, now we're going to keep on going with round 5. Round 5's pattern is 6 groups of 3 single crochets, increase. So we're going into that first stitch. That's the first single crochet, next stitch, second single crochet, then the next stitch, the third single crochet. So we've worked up 3 single crochets. Then in the next stitch position, we're going to go ahead and work an increase. A single crochet, add 1 more, and that right there is 1 full set. And we repeat it all the way around. And then into the next V-stitch. So 1, and then 2, then 3. Single crochet, then increase. So that's 1, and then 2, and then 3. A single crochet, and increase. That's 1, and then 2, then 3. A single crochet, and then increase. So that's 1, and then we've got 2, then 3. A single crochet, then increase. And on to the last group. So 1, and then 2, then 3. And on that last stitch we're going to work an increase, so that's a single crochet plus 1 more. And with that, round 5 is all finished. Once this round is done, we have a total of 30 stitches. And we join into the first stitch with a slip stitch, then pull it snug, then work another turning chain. Right side here, and wrong side here. We don't need to worry about this tail. Now we're going to keep going and crochet round 6. And the pattern for round 6, you can think of as 1 increase every 4 stitches. So we split the first group up again. So first, 2 single crochets. Two single crochets, then increase in the next stitch. And after that, it's 4 single crochets and then 1 increase. That's 2, then 3, 4, a single crochet, and then increase. That's 1, and then 2, and 3, and then 4, a single crochet, and then increase. So 1, and then 2, and 3, and then 4, a single crochet, and then increase. That's 1, and then 2, and 3, and then 4, a single crochet, and then increase. That's 1, and then 2, and 3, and then 4, a single crochet, then increase. And that leaves us 2 more stitches, and we're going to work 2 single crochets on their own here. So that's 1 in each of those stitches. So 1, and then 2. And with that, our round 6 is all finished. Once this round is done, we have a total of 36 stitches now. And we join into the first stitch with a slip stitch, then pull it snug, then work another turning chain. Now, we're going to keep right on going with round 7. The pattern for round 7 repeats 6 groups of 5 single crochets and an increase. So we go into that first stitch position right here. Put a stitch marker on that very first one there just to mark the spot. 1, then 2, and 3, 4, 5. Once you've worked 5 single crochets, and in the next stitch we're going to work an increase, a single crochet, and add 1 more there. That's 1 full set, and we repeat 6 groups. That's 1, and then 2, and then 3, then 4, 5, and then in the next stitch we're going to be working another increase, so that's a single crochet, and then 1 more on top. That's 1, and then 2, and then 3, then 4, and then 5, a single crochet, and increase. That's 1, and then 2, then 3, and 4, then 5, a single crochet and increase. That's 1, and then 2, then 3, and 4, then 5, a single crochet, then increase, and 1 last group to go. That's 1, and then 2, then 3, and 4, then 5. Then we move over a stitch, and we're going to work 1 more increase, so that's a single crochet, and then 1 more. And with that, our round 7 is finished. Once this round is done, we have a total of 42 stitches. Then we join into the first stitch with a slip stitch, pull it tight, and work another turning chain. Now if the curve is getting pretty deep, you can flip it around, turn it right side out, and keep crocheting like that. So next up is round 8. And rounds 8 all the way to 11 are all worked the same way. Every round is 42 single crochets, no increase or decrease, so we just go along into each stitch and work 1 single crochet into it. If you're new, make sure on the first and last stitch you put a marker on. Then after 2 rounds, count your stitches and see if they still match up. Then work 1 stitch into each stitch. And after every single round, make sure you work a slip stitch and a turning chain. Now, and I won't demonstrate the repeats again, so go ahead and work through them yourself. So every single round of these is 42 stitches. and then we keep on going right through until round 11 is done. We count the rounds like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this here is round 8. So go ahead and work through to the end of round 11. Here I've already finished round 11, and now we're going to keep going on with round 12. On round 12, we're going to work the cheek area. There are 2 spots on the cheeks that need increases. So first up, we work 13 single crochets. Count carefully here so you don't get it wrong. That's 1 and 2, then 3 and 4, then 5 and 6, then 7 and 8, and then 9 and 10, and then 11, and then 12, 13. So that's 13 single crochets done there, and after that we're going to work another 5 groups of increases. First group, a single crochet, then increase. Second group, a single crochet, then increase, and then the third group, a single crochet, then increase, and the fourth group, a single crochet, then increase, and the fifth group, a single crochet, then increase. And so that's our 5 increases all done, and in the middle we work 6 single crochets on their own. That's 1 and 2, then 3 and 4, then 5 and 6. After that, we work another 5 increases. First group, increase, and then second group, an increase. Third group, and increase. Fourth group, and increase. Fifth group, and increase. And after those 5 increases, we're going to work another 13 more single crochets on their own to finish out this round. That's 1 and 2, then 3 and 4, then 5 and 6, then 7 and 8, then 9 and 10, and then 11 and 12, and then 13. And so just like that, our round 12 is all finished. Once this round is done, we have a total of 52 stitches now. And we join into the first stitch with a slip stitch, pull it tight, and work another turning chain. Keep the turning chain loose. Then, rounds 13 through 17 are all worked in the very same way. They're all 52 single crochets, no increase or decrease, so we just line up and work 1 stitch into each stitch. At the increase spots, make sure you can tell them apart. Just work 1 stitch into each stitch there. And if you're new at this, try to count them all out. Make sure every round matches up right. Where there's no shaping, just crochet those yourself. I won't repeat it all here, so you just keep on going until round 17 is all finished too. And all of these middle rounds here are 52 stitches. After each round, make sure you work a slip stitch and a turning chain. The increase spots are a little bit tight, so take a good look at them. Then go ahead and work through them. So over here, I've already worked all 52 of the single crochets of round 17. And the slip stitch and the turning chain are all done there too. Now we keep going with round 18. On round 18, we're going to take those 5 increases that we made earlier on, and those 5 groups are going to become 5 decreases. So first we work 13 single crochets on their own. Go into the first stitch. After 1 single crochet, put a marker on it. Then count along. So that's 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, and 5, then 6, and then 7, and then 8, and then 9, and then 10, and then 11, then 12, 13. And now we're going to start on the decreases here. A decrease is 2 stitches worked together, so let's take a look. This V-shaped stitch here is made up of 2 separate strands. The one on the inside is the inner loop, and the one on the outside is the outer loop. So when we're working a decrease, we take the outer loops of 2 stitches and join them together. First we put our hand on the 3rd stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3, because that's where the next stitch goes in. That just makes it easier to see. So first up, the hook goes in from the side over here. And pick up the strand that's closest to us. Then pull it down. Then pick up the outer loop of the next stitch, just 1 strand. Go in from the side and come out the middle. 1 strand is left inside, and that's normal. Now there are 3 loops on the hook. We pull the yarn through. Slowly pull it through 2 of the loops. Then 2 loops again, so we yarn over and pull through, and that's the first decrease. And then we take our hand off of that stitch there, and we go on to work the next decrease. So 1, 2, 3. Put your hand on the 3rd stitch. On the first outer loop, we pick up just 1 strand, then pull it on down and pick up the outer loop of the next stitch there. Now 3 loops on the hook, and we slowly pull the yarn through those first 2 loops there. Yarn over and pull through 2. Second decrease done. As you work these, remember how many you've done. And then the 3rd group. The 4th group. The 5th group. And that's all 5 decreases done. Then in the middle we have 6 single crochets on their own. So 1, and for those single crochets we pick up the full V-stitch, so both of the strands. That's 2, and 3, then 4, and 5. After we work up those 6 stitches, we start in on another 5 decreases. Put your hand on the 3rd stitch. First group. If the hand isn't right, pick the strand up again. Second group. Third group. Fourth group. And then the 5th group. So that's our 5 decreases all done. And after that, we're going to work 13 more single crochets on their own. That's 1 and 2, then 3 and 4, and then that's 5, and then 6, then 7 and 8, then 9 and 10, and then 11 12, and then the very last one there is number 13. And with that, our round 18 is all finished up here. Once this round is done, we've got a total of 42 stitches. Put a marker on the last stitch here just to mark it. Here's a little tip. When you work the decreases, the yarn on your hand, pull it a bit tighter. Then, the little hole at the decrease will come out a bit smaller. And then we join into the first stitch with a slip stitch. Pull it tight and work a turning chain, nice and loose. And next we're going to start on round 19. From round 19 onward, every single round has decreases in it. Round 19 repeats 6 groups of 5 single crochets, decrease. So the first single crochet, and 2, then 3, and 4, 5. After 5 single crochets, we're going to work a decrease. So 1 outer loop, and then 2 outer loops. Pull the yarn through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, and now we start the next group. If you can't tell where the next one goes in, you can look at it from the side like this. Here, there isn't a complete stitch there anymore, so that right there is where the next stitch goes in. So that's 1, and then 2, then 3, and 4, and 5, and then we're going to work a decrease. On to the next group. That's 1, and 2, then 3, and 4, and then 5. Then we finish a decrease. That's 1, and 2, then 3, and 4, and 5, and then we're going to work a decrease. That's 1, and 2, then 3, and 4, and then 5. Then a decrease. That's 1, and 2, then 3, and 4, and 5, and that leaves 2 stitches, right here. And we take that last marker off there. Then we work a decrease. And with that, round 19 is finished. Once this round is done, we've got a total of 36 stitches now. As we go on, when you decrease, make sure you count. Count the single crochets in between. So count as you go along. Slip stitch, turning chain, then we keep going with round 20. On round 20, you can think of it as a decrease every 4 stitches. So we work 1 decrease group. We split the first group up. First, it's 2 single crochets and a decrease. Because at the end of the round, we'll have 2 single crochets left. So that's 1 and 2. Those single crochets, then we work a decrease. In the middle, it's 4 single crochets, so that's 1, and then that's 2, then 3, and 4, then decrease. That's 1 and 2, then 3 and 4, then decrease. That's 1 and 2, then 3, and then 4, decrease. So that's 1, and then we've got 2, and then 3, and then 4, then decrease. So that's 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, then decrease. And after we work that decrease, we have 2 stitches left over. Let's look at the last stitch and the second to last one. We work 2 single crochets on their own. So that's 1 and then 2. And so just like that, our round 20 is finished. Once it's done, we have a total of 30 stitches. Then we work a slip stitch into the first one and another turning chain. And next we're going to keep on going with round 21. Round 21's pattern repeats 6 groups of 3 single crochets and a decrease. So that's 1, and then we've got 2, and then 3, and then we're going to work a decrease. After 3 single crochets, we take the outer loops of 2 stitches. Pull the yarn through 2 loops, then yarn over and pull through 2, on to the next group. So that's 1 and 2. Now when we're working a normal single crochet, we're picking up both of the strands of that V-stitch. It's only when we work a decrease that we take just 1 strand. Make sure you count. If you don't count, then you might lose track of what comes next. 1, 2, 3, decrease. Then 1 and 2, and the third. And then in the next stitch, we're going to be working a decrease, picking up 2 outer loops, and next, so that's 1, and then 2, and then 3, then a decrease, so that's 1, and then 2, and then 3, then decrease, that's 1, and then 2, and then 3, then a decrease, that's 1, and then 2, and then 3, and that leaves us 2 stitches. So we go ahead and take the stitch marker off and work 1 decrease. And with that, our round 21 is all finished. Once this round is done, we've got a total of 24 stitches now. Pull tight, turning chain, and now we can go ahead and add some stuffing inside. Pull that loop out a little bit longer and set it off to the side. As you stuff it, go ahead and put a good amount in there. Get right down into both of the cheeks here, and make sure those cheeks are filled right out. You can just push it in with your fingers. Once the stuffing is in, we go ahead and tidy that loop back up and put the hook back on. Pull it snug. On round 22, we're going to be working 12 groups of decreases. We're only picking up the outer loop as we work them. So that's 1 and 2, 2 outer loops, pull through 2 loops, Then yarn over and pull through 2. That's the first one. Second group. And third group. Now if you didn't pick that strand up right, then just back it out and pick it up again. Fourth group. And sixth group. Seventh group. Eighth group. Then 9. And 10. And then 11. And that leaves us 2 more. So on those last 2 stitches, we work 1 more decrease, and that's group 12. Once this round is done, we have a total of 12 stitches. Then join into the first stitch with a slip stitch. And when we work that slip stitch join, we pick up the whole V-stitch, so both of the strands there. Pull it tight and work a turning chain. And if you need a bit more stuffing, you can go ahead and add some more right here. And now then, we're going to keep right on going with round 23. On round 23, we're going to be working 6 decreases. So we work 2. First group. Second group. Third group. Fourth group. And fifth group. And there's one last group to go. We take the stitch marker off. There are 2 stitches here. Sixth group. And with that, our head is all finished. Join into the first stitch with a slip stitch. When you join, pick up the whole V-stitch, both of the strands. Bring it over and work another turning chain. Pull the turning chain a bit tight. And here we're going to leave about 10 centimeters of yarn, or 4 inches. Bring it over. If you need any more stuffing, right now is the time to add it in. Once the opening is closed, you can't add any. This opening here is a bit small, so push it in slowly. As you push it in, just be careful not to cut that yarn tail. Then let's take a look. Tidy it all up. So it's got a little cheek on each side here, and the middle here can dip in just a little bit. That way it looks cuter. If there's not much, we can add a little bit more. And you can also just go by whatever you like best. If you like it nice and plump, add more. And if you like it squishy, then add less. Personally, I like putting in a bit more stuffing. And next up, we're going to take out a tapestry needle and close up the opening. And as we close it up, we're only picking up the outer loop again here. So pick up the outer loop of every single stitch there. And then we go ahead and slowly pull that yarn up tight. And then we're going to just sew a little bit on the side over there. Then hide the yarn inside. There's going to be a line here, the slip stitch seam. We treat that as the back, so try to bring the yarn out at the back there, and then cut it off. Be careful not to cut into the work itself. Then give it a little rub. And there. And with that, the head is all finished up. And next we're going to crochet up the arms. The arms start off with a magic ring. Wind it once around the middle finger. First up, we work a turning chain. Then pull the yarn through. Yarn over and pull through the loop on the hook. Tidy it up and pull it tight. And now we start on round 1 of the arm. 6 single crochets into the ring. The hook goes in, pull the yarn through and then pull it up a little. Now 2 loops on the hook. We yarn over and pull through both of those loops. On the first stitch, we put on a stitch marker to mark it. Next, we keep going with the second single crochet. Then the third, and then 4 and 5 and 6. Pull the ring closed. On the last stitch, we add a marker too, just to mark it. Then we work a slip stitch into that very first stitch. Through the first stitch, and then through the loop on the hook. Then another turning chain, yarn over, and bring it over. Once that's done, we keep going. This is round 2. The pattern for round 2 is 6 increases. We go into the first stitch, and work 1 single crochet, put a stitch marker on. Then we go in here again and work another single crochet. That's the first group, single crochet and increase. Second stitch, and here we're also working 2 single crochets. Then third group, a single crochet and increase. Fourth group, single crochet, then increase, and the fifth group, single crochet and increase. And last group. Once round 2 is done, we have a total of 12 stitches now. We work a slip stitch into the first stitch, pull tight, then a turning chain, pull the tail a bit tighter. After that, round 3, all the way to round 6, they're worked the same. Every round is 12 single crochets, no shaping. When you can, flip it so the right side faces out. Slip stitch, then another turning chain, and then we keep on going with round 4, which is also 12 single crochets. So 1 in each stitch. And we're going to work 2 more rounds in the very same way, right up through round 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, round 4. And the next round up is round 5. So here I've already finished round 6 of the arm. We work a slip stitch into the first stitch and then pull tight. Then 1 more turning chain, tidy that turning chain up and pull it tight. Then give the first yarn tail a little pull. And then we cut that yarn off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we make 2 arms the very same way. The yarn tail can just get tucked down inside. Add just a little bit of stuffing. With the arms done, we're going to crochet the body. For the body we do 2 legs first, then we join the legs together, and then just keep crocheting on upward. So first up we're going to crochet one of the legs here. A magic ring, and then we work a turning chain. Pull tight. Round 1 is going to be 6 single crochets. So first stitch, and second stitch, and 3, and 4, then 5, and the 6th. And once that's done, pull that tail tight and close the ring up. Then lay the yarn behind your work. Then work a slip stitch into the first stitch. And then another turning chain. And next we're going to keep right on going with round 2. So round 2 is going to be 6 increases. The first stitch, and increase. And then we go on to the second stitch, single crochet, and add 1 more. Then the third stitch, single crochet, and increase, and the fourth stitch, a single crochet, then increase, and onto the fifth stitch, a single crochet, and increase. Last stitch, and here we work 2 single crochets as well. So once round 2 is done, we have a total of 12 stitches. Slip stitch and turning chain. When you can, go ahead and flip it. Turn it right side out and keep crocheting. Next, we're going to work round 3. The pattern for round 3 repeats 6 groups of single crochet, increase, in the second stitch, we work an increase. That's group 1. And then group 2, 1 single crochet on its own. and then an increase. A single crochet, then a single crochet and an increase. A single crochet, then a single crochet and an increase. And a single crochet, then a single crochet and increase. And last group. On the last stitch we work an increase. Increase. And with that, round 3 is done. Once this round is done, we have a total of 18 stitches. Then slip stitch and turning chain. And next on round 4 we're going to be working 18 single crochets. Here we want to pick up just the inner loop as we work. That's the strand farther away from us. So we go in right through the middle of that V-stitch and out on the inside. So that's 1, and then 2, then 3, and 4, then 5, and 6, then 7, and 8, then 9, and 10, and then 11, and then that's 12, and then 13, and then 14, and then 15, and 16, 17, and then on to the very last stitch. That's 18. Once those 18 single crochets of round 4 are done, we work a slip stitch into that first stitch. And on that slip stitch, the hook goes into the hole of the V-stitch, so both of the strands. Pull tight, then a turning chain, and next up, rounds 5 and 6 are both going to be 18 single crochets too. We pick up the whole stitch and just work normal single crochets. 1 stitch into each stitch. After each round, work a slip stitch and a turning chain. And I won't demonstrate the repeats again, so go ahead and work on through round 6 yourself.